Sir Handel was cross. Some coaches had bumped him to a standstill earlier, and now he was in a bad mood. He fumed into the yards, complaining about them to the other engines. "Those castle trucks shall be taught a jolly good lesson if they're not careful. They ought to be scrapped if you ask me." Skarloey was shocked at such an idea. "I'm ashamed of you, Sir Handel. All those coaches need is some kindness and respect." "I agree, Skarloey," said Rheneas. "You should be glad, Sir Handel, that you're not a mountain engine," he continued. "And what might a mountain engine do?" "Well, climb mountains, of course. Me and Skarloey have heard of a railway not far from here." "Rubbish! It can't, its wheels would slip." "Can too." Just as the three engines started to argue, Donald puffed in with a flatbed that had a strange-looking engine on top. He had a stovepipe chimney with his cylinders back to front and his boiler slanted downwards. "Dinna wake the wee engine. He's just been mended and is back from the works. You know how it is." "We understand, but who is he?" "His name is Caldy. His railway is designed to climb mountains." "Well, what are the chances of that?" "Huh! I don't believe it," he snapped. "Ask him yourself." Donald puffed away, quite offended. Caldy woke to find the other engines gazing at him. "Where am I?" he asked. The little engines told him. "Oh, I'm nearly home now." "Excuse me, but do you really climb mountains?" "Yes, of course, I've done it for years. I'm named after the Caldyfell Mountain Railway." "We couldn't climb hills like that. Our wheels would surely slip back down the mountain." "Oh, I'm no stronger than any of you. It's just how I was built, with pinion wheels on our driving axles which fit into a rack rail like teeth, you see. This enables us to climb steep hills without slipping." If your line is so steep, aren't you frightened coming down?" "Well, why would we be? We have good brakes. Don't your coaches push you?" "Yes, ours do to us. Some more than others don't control them the way they should." Sir Handel pretended not to hear and looked at his buffers. "Our coaches are well behaved and don't do such silly things. They know such tricks are dangerous on our line. Come to think of it, I was frightened once." "Tell us more, Caldy," said the three engines. "It was before our line was open. An inspector had come to the railway to test our reliability. He chose an engine at random, and that was me. He made me push a coach to the summit." "So far, so good. Now we must test your brakes." So, I was taken to the steepest part of the line. The track sloped downwards to a sharp bend, twisting its way round a preservis. "Brakes off, driver. Let him roll." The coaches nudged me. I had never been so scared in all my life. I began going faster and faster down the hill, the weight of the coaches pushing me. I was terrified. My driver leaned for the brake. "Hands off," he ordered as we gathered speed. Then, I remembered my automatic brake. I could apply those myself. So I did, and I hoped for the best. They worked beautifully. My driver and fireman mopped their faces. "Well done, Culdee. You're a credit to the mountain railway." I smiled, but was quite shaken. I'm never scared now, though. Why should I be? There's no need. "Oh, you are a brave engine, Culdee. Your coaches sound very well behaved." "Oh, they are. We treat them with the utmost respect on our railway." "Well, Sir Handel, what do you say to that?" But Sir Handel was too ashamed to say anything. Next morning, Skarloey and Rheneas were talking with Culdee when Duncan stormed in, followed by Sir Handel. "Hello," chuckled Rheneas. "Here we go." "I nearly came off," fumed Duncan. "Those coaches pushed me. The Fat Controller says they didn't. He says I kept a bad lookout. 'We have no money to mend you,' he said, 'and if it happens again, I'll leave you in the back of the shed.' Why does he always pick on me? It's not fair." Skarloey said nothing. He just looked at Rheneas. "As you were saying, Culdee," remarked Rheneas, "you had 2 coaches on your trial trip. Do you carry more?" "Oh no, our line is so steep that we're only allowed 1. We each have our own. Mine's called Catherine. I know her well. That's most important." "Why?" asked Sir Handel. "They're only coaches." "Ours," said Culdee, "are something more. You pull your coaches and you can see ahead. We push ours up so we can't see. They watch the line for us. The guard watches too, of course, but Catherine is so clever that I know at once if anything is wrong." "That must take a load off your mind," said Skarloey. Culdee smiled. "But not off my buffers. Climbing's hard work and needs a lot of steam. My fireman and I have a tiring time. Coming down," he went on, "is different. Catherine and I just roll. We need no steam for that." Sir Handel sighed enviously. "Oh, I should like that. With your automatic brakes it sounds like a rest." "That," replied Culdee, "was just the mistake poor Godred made." "Who," asked the little engines, "is Godred?" "Godred was our number 1 and named after a king. Perhaps that went to his smoke box and made him conceited. He never kept a good lookout. He'd roll down the line looking anywhere but the track." "You'll have an accident," I told him. "I have my automatic brakes, haven't I? And driver's got his air brake. What more do you want?" "More sense from you," I told him. "No engine can stop at once if he isn't ready to obey his driver's controls." "The first thing a young engine learns," agreed Skarloey. Godred never learned sense. His driver and fireman and the manager all spoke to him. They even took him to pieces to see if anything was wrong, but he still carried on in the same old way. One day I was going up and waited at a station for Godred to pass. As I waited, it happened. One moment he was on the track, the next his driver and fireman jumped clear as he rolled over. No one was hurt. His coach was still on the rails and the guard braked her to a stop. Godred looked awful. They brought him home the next day. "We have no money to mend you," said our manager, "so you'll go to the back of the shed." As time went on, poor Godred got smaller and smaller, till nothing was left. What happened?" asked Duncan anxiously. "It's not nice to talk about," said Caldy. "But what happened? Why isn't it nice?" "Our drivers used Godred's parts to mend us," said Caldy mournfully. Sir Handel and Duncan were unusually silent long after Caldy had gone home. Scarloy and Rheneas neglected to mention that Caldy had made the story up. Donald brought Caldy up the valley to the exchange siding, where he was soon unloaded back onto the rails. His driver, fireman, and manager were all there. They all said thank you and goodbye to Donald, then they lit Caldy's fire, and while they waited for him to steam, they looked him over carefully. "A very good job," they said at last. Caldy sizzled happily. "Oh, it's lovely to be at home and in steam again," he said. "I'm longing to have a run with Catherine." "Come on then," said his driver, and they trundled along to the shed. Catherine was pleased to see him, and they went for a run at once. "I've had to go with Lord Harry lately," she said. "He takes risks and frightens me, and when I warn him he laughs." "Never mind," soothed Caldy. "It'll be all right now." Later on, he met his old friend Wilfred. The two chatted just like old times after Caldy asked, "Who is Lord Harry?" "He's one of the new engines," he said. "He came while you were away. Alaric and Eric are nice quiet engines. Lord Harry, however, is a nuisance." Next afternoon, Lord Harry rolled by with a reluctant coach on his way to the platform. "Stupid things," he grumbled. "They're all scared of coming with me." "You're too reckless," said Caldy. "That's why." "Rubbish! I'm up to date, that's all. I can go twice your speed in perfect safety." "All the same, we don't take such risks on mountain railways." "There's no risk, not with my superheat." "It's superheat, is it? Honestly thought it was conceit myself." Lord Harry snorted furiously away. "Oh!" screamed the coach as her wheels ground on the curves. "Be careful!" "Huh!" snorted Lord Harry. "I like things to be exciting." Every wise mountain engine knows that you don't take risks and that points must be taken slowly. At this part of the line, the rack rails have no guards. "Steady now, steady!" warned his driver. But Lord Harry took no notice. He was thinking about what he'd say to Caldy when they next met. "There's no danger," he boasted, storming up the final slope. "That silly old engine was talking nonsense." The telephone rang in the shed, and Caldy's crew were joined by the manager. "Lord Harry's off at the summit," said the station master. "Someone needs to come here and put this right." So they collected some workmen and a tool van and set out at once. It was getting dark as they arrived. Lord Harry sat on the points feeling very embarrassed. He had come off at the points blocking both lines at the station. Wilfred was there with his coach, unable to start his journey back down the mountain. The passengers buzzed around Lord Harry like angry bees. The manager persuaded the passengers away from the scene, while Coldy buffered up from behind to help pull Lord Harry back onto the tracks. The workmen then levered the engine's front wheels back onto the rails. "Wilfred," called Coldy, "whoever is this wreck?" "Oh, it's Lord Harry, didn't you know?" "It looks like Lord Harry. It's as fat as Lord Harry, but of course it can't be Lord Harry." "Well, why ever not? You see, Lord Harry is an up-to-date engine. He can go twice our speed in perfect safety." "Tee-hee-hee-hee-hee," sniggered the coaches. Lord Harry was seething. They pushed Lord Harry out of the way and took the passengers home. Then Colby helped him back to the shed. "It was that coach, sir," said Lord Harry. "She never—" "No excuses," said the manager sternly. "It was your fault and you know it. You upset our passengers and damaged yourself by taking risks. We cannot have that on our railway." "But sir—" "That is enough. You will stay in the shed till we can decide what to do with you." He turned and walked sternly away. Lord Harry had been shut up in the shed for days for his bad behaviour. As a punishment, they had taken his name, and he was put at the back of the shed. He soon heard Coldy's story about Godred. "Huh," he said, "that couldn't happen to me." But he was anxious all the same. "Please, sir, I'm sorry. I'll try to be a different engine." "The passengers don't trust you," said the manager. "You will take the truck instead." So number 6 took supplies to Summit Hotel. He took gangers to work in the morning and brought them home in the evening. He found it very dull and grumbled dreadfully. "It's important work," protested Wilfred. "And tough too." "Tough? That little lot?" "Yes, tough," said Coldy. "Have you ever been across Devil's Back in a gale?" "No," said number 6 thoughtfully. "But I see what you mean." A mile below the summit, the line runs through a rocky ridge. Always there is wind. Sometimes it is gentle, and others it is fierce and dangerous. Then all passenger trains stop at Devil's Back Station, but whatever the weather, store trains and rescue trains must get through. A few days later, number 6 reached Devil's Back at 5:15. He was on his way with the truck to fetch railway staff from the summit. "All clear now," said the station master as the last down train left the loop. "Don't waste time, the wind's rising." He went inside to set the points, but the telephone rang. He came out looking worried. "There's trouble," he told the crew. Then he explained. They began to fill the truck's big tank with water, and sandbags ballasted the van. The wind whistled around them while they worked. "What is all this?" asked number 6. "It's been a climbing accident," explained his driver. "Coldy and Catherine are bringing up a doctor and a rescue team, but Catherine's too light to stand these winds, so we'll go up ourselves. The water and the sandbags will steady us, and if you can keep going, we'll have a good chance of getting through. Can you do it?" "I'll try," said number 6. When Coldy arrived, the doctor and the rescue team boarded Lord Harry's train. The manager was there too. "Splendid," he said when he saw the preparations. "Now number 6, it's up to you now." The guards signalled the driver and they were off. "A real job at last," said number 6 with determination. "Now I'll show him. Now I'll show him." Leaving the shelter at the station, the full force of the wind struck him like a blow. Coldy and Catherine saw him waver. "Go it! Go it!" they yelled. Lord Harry heard them for a moment, but next he was battling on alone. He didn't feel brave now. All he wanted was to get out of the treacherous wind which seemed to want to blow him off the tracks. The truck lurched and swayed as the wind tore at it. Manager's relying on me to save those climbers. We must go through, we must. Slowly he struggled on, and finally they climbed the last steep ascent and triumphantly rolled into Summit Station. They brought the climbers down safely, and an ambulance was waiting to take them to hospital. Next morning, their leader came to say thank you. "My friend Patrick," he said, "hurt himself helping me, but he's mending well now though, thanks to you and your brave engine. We'd all be proud if you called him Patrick too." The manager smiled. "Well, number 6, would you like that?" he asked. "Oh, sir, yes please." Patrick and the others are all good friends now. He's still brave, he's still ready to take risks when needed, but he knows now that it's stupid to take them just for the sake of showing off.